Caribbean Gospel in New Providence, Bahamas.
The thoughts, views, and comments expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street.
Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your continued support and checking us out here at Glory 93.9 FM. Thank you, Marisha. I had the thing too high. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I really appreciate your support. You know, I know that the popularity of the show is really growing because it seems everywhere I go, people are saying, oh, that show you did with this one. Or, oh, I like how you hear. Or, oh. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning in every day and, you know, making this a part of your daily routine. We really, really do appreciate it. Let's face it, this is the place to be if you want to have inspiration throughout the day. And what a better way to start the day than with National Access and GPS on the air. So thank you for being a part of the show. And a big thanks to my sponsors who make today's show possible. A big thanks to J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa. Tried something a little different today. Still cute. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you to Chevette Williamson Jewelry. And of course, Bahari Bahamas for dressing me. And a big thank you to all of you, my audience, for being here today. So today, as you all know, or if you don't know, you should know, today is International Women's Day. International Women's Day. And so that means that we are going to be talking about the affairs of women, the plight of women, the successes of women, and where we would like to see us go as a collective as we look to advance the human race, because the advancement of women is the advancement of the human race. I don't want you to think for any second that this show is going to be about bashing men, because no, that's not going to be about. But it is going to take a look at where we are at in you know, the movement of women in this 2021, and where we should be going, and what we can together do to raise awareness about the plight of women. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And before I introduce you to my guest, I'm going to play a clip that sort of gives you an idea of what International Women's Day is about.
Gender is a pre-written book, and the plot is boring. Daughter, girlfriend, mother, wife, rip out the pages, staple them to your back, and start soaring. pretty, quiet, weak. They will try to describe you with such things, but you will use their stereotypes and turn them into your wings. When you choose to challenge, gender is a pre-written book, but not all the girls' stories end the same way. 33,000 girls are forced to become child brides every day. 132 million girls are not in school. And their futures are balloons that they watch drift away. But you are the full stop to the story. You are the new sentence that takes it on a different road. When you speak up, you open your palms and you share the load. When you choose to challenge, gender is a pre-written book, but not all of the characters are included, like the First Nations women who stand as still as statues, always walked past but never acknowledged or seen, or migrant women whose culture stands like a skyscraper, and they're forced to burn down the parts of themselves society doesn't deem convenient, or refugee women who are treated with brutality when we should have been lenient. And you are there as this story unfolds and you are faced with a choice. So choose to challenge. Gender is a pre-written book, and this is your chance to add your own chapter, to call out racism and sexism, and use courage to rub it out, to stand where the rest of the world has chosen to sit, to call it out at home, at work, at school, bit by bit, to scream where the world has chosen to whisper, not just for your daughter, your mother, or your sister. Let us choose to challenge. Gender is a pre-written book. And if you're listening to this, then your actions are the pen. Your life is the paper. You are not the oppression of the past. I believe that you are so much greater, stronger, kinder. Choose to create history, not to be created by it. Choose to challenge.
So on this International Women's Day, I am inviting you to join us around the world as we choose to challenge the bias, choose to challenge the stereotypes, choose to challenge every form of discrimination that holds women and girls down. That's what we're talking about today on this International Women's Day. And I am so honored to introduce my guest for today, because this is a woman. Man, I have admired her for such a long time. She is truly an inspiration to many. And guys, I'm having a hard time scrolling down to introduce her, to bring her up. Okay, I see it now. All right, so let's get her added to the stream. There she is, looking lovely as always. My guest this morning is a director of Gender and Family Affairs, educator of 35 years, former senator, culture and heritage enthusiast, the one, the only, Dr. Jacinta Higgs. Oh man, so good to see your face. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you.
Well, you look the part.
Thank you.
So the theme this year is Choose to Challenge, calling on women and human beings around the world, because it's not just women who are standing for this, to choose to challenge the biases, choose to challenge the glass ceiling, choose to challenge the stereotypes that are for generations have been keeping women and girls back. So let's talk about this International Women's Day and the importance of it. Why do you think it is still necessary, Dr. Higgs, to have an International Women's Day?
So blessings and
So
peace.
blessings and peace.
Thank you very much
Thank you
for this
very much for this
opportunity
opportunity.
to share and to be on your show. It is critical for us to observe annually and even more than once per year International Women's Day, because the concerns, the challenges, the outstanding issues, the inequalities, the structural inequalities, the inadequacies, the needs are so huge, they are so entrenched that we must use this day to stop, to think, to gather, to strategize, to plot, and then to act, and then to come back and reassess. So International Women's Day give us an opportunity to do that. And so I'm sharing, please allow me to share in terms of teaching and sharing. So the theme that you have, choose to challenge is phenomenal. And thank you for the beautiful charge to action, the call to action done by such a beautiful, brilliant young mind. The United Nations theme is women in leadership, building stronger in a COVID-19 environment. And so International Women's Day belongs to no one, no entity. Like, so for example, the world have their tags stamped on certain international observances, and then the United Nations has. So UN Women, of course, this is one of the biggest ones for them. But this is one of those observances where all over the world, different organizations are carrying themes and agenda and programs and initiatives based on the need, the customized need of their country, of their region. And so for the UN Women, we would go with that one because this theme fits directly into CSW, which is the Commission on the Status of Women. That is a convening at the United Nations, so CSW, which is going to be held in literally a week. And then it's going to run for about 2-3 weeks. And that theme is women in leadership, frontline public life and politics, gender equality, ending gender-based violence and discrimination. And so we are using that as a Department of Gender and Family Affairs, as well as the National Women's Advisory Council. So just in case someone heard, because I think, someone on the radio said that this morning, that's not the theme, but yes, there are all sorts of things. So I just wanted to put that out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's very, very important. And the reason why we're going with the United Nations, because that is the entity we are aligned with, but because its theme is very strategic, because it is asking over 200 countries around the world to please make good on the documents they signed, the conventions and the treaties, with regards to increasing women in frontline politics, public life, parliament. And then it's asking them to please reduce gender-based violence. And they're asking this through the theme and also through our reporting. So we have to give an account at the CSW meeting with hundreds of countries around the world, as I said, in a week. And the reason why, again, the first question you asked, why must we keep celebrating it more than ever before, more than the past 100 years? It's critical that we celebrate it this year because COVID-19 and for the Bahamas, Hurricane Dorian decimated our saving accounts. It annihilated dreams and goals of 30 years in the case of couples who work at the hotel, have their nice home, and maybe had 5 more years on their home. It demolished opportunities. Some persons going to college are now back home, and the parents just couldn't get it out in terms of guiding them. Young women, dreams, and men too. So for me, even though I'm gender and family affairs, and it's International Women's Day, you said something earlier with regards to we're not going to bash men, because right now the United Nations is asking us, what are you going to do this International Day, Women's Day, to begin now to plot and guide and strategize for how you're going to restore and recover damaged economies, hurting families, whilst we are still in COVID, and then more particularly post-COVID.
How important is it, Dr. Higgs, that we, especially us here in the Bahamas, really look to see how we can bring more women to the table of decision making? I mean, when we look at our current situation, we have now one woman in Parliament, in Cabinet, where the decisions are made. But we have many, many, many women who are capable, just as capable, equally so, as any other man that's sitting in those cabinet seats. I actually had somebody say to me, "Oh, I see your former colleague, Pakeisha Parker, has been made a minister, a cabinet minister. You think she could handle that post?" And I said, "Well, if Hiram Lewis could handle, why can't she? What's your point?" But this is the prevailing attitude from men and women that, oh, that's a woman, so maybe that's too much for her to handle.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What do we need to do to break the shackle?
So one is curriculum development. One is formal education. Michelle, I'm 55 years old. I've gone through the full gamut of formalized education in my area of expertise, which is education. And the other day, someone was just teaching me some things. And I'm saying, oh my God, how was I even able to survive and succeed without knowing the skills, the nuggets of information, the thoughts, and the expressions of wisdom that this person was literally teaching me? I mean, over an hour, I was just in awe. And that should have been a part, what she was teaching ought to have been a part of the curriculum. And so I'm saying that to say we cannot overestimate the power of the formal K through 12, K through university curriculum. So that's the first thing. There's something called stereotypes. And I think you said it, or the young lady said this morning, the stereotypes, they are entrenched. They are wicked, man, because those stereotypes, wicked is when you put truth and lies and you mix them, you twist them together. So the old wooden wicker chairs is when you twist wood, you twist truth and lies. And so there are some stereotypes that have little truth in it and some lies, and they mix them, and people, children, 70,000 Bahamian children are being taught and trained and raised and guided and mentored based on fallacies, based on stereotypes that we have yet to look at as a country to determine what is going to be our national dialogue and narrative between the value of a girl and the value of a boy, climbing the tree to make it sour. You know, we really thought that, but DNA and the phenotype and the genotype of the tree does not know gender. It does not know sex. It does not know that. And so there are simple things that we are taught that must be rooted out from the curriculum. That's the first thing. And the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, we're working with the Ministry of Education, and that's Sabrina Skinner, with regards to family life curriculum, etc., just revision of the curriculum. That's one thing. And then secondly, there must be public education and awareness. And so again, I am really thankful for this opportunity to be on the show. We must guide people. So CWIL is a formalized group, Caribbean Institute for Women in Leadership. They are just 1 year. So 2019, they were formed, and they are aligned with the Caribbean Institute and Parl Americas and Canada, and the entire CARICOM, I should say. and they have a formalized curriculum to teach transformational leadership to women, very specific content area with regard to any aspirant or candidate or woman in leadership in the country, in the land. And so that is going to be critical as well to help us get through this. Just calling things out. My heart got full watching and listening to her, that baby, that young child, I call her, tell me and affirm for me what the message was in church Sunday, in the Catholic churches. We read about Jesus, that righteous indignation, but him getting angry and going into the temple to make correction for things that people were doing. They were doing it for a long period of time. No one checkmate them. No one told them. They knew, they knew, but they kept perpetuating it if you didn't have someone to challenge them. And so I'm really listening to her. And I know that in my role and sometimes for what I'm dealing with, I don't challenge enough. And so we have to challenge, we have to teach, we have to mentor, we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate in terms of just like how you said, going straight to say, and I you called a name. I would even call a name. If the prime minister can do it, so can she.
Exactly.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
why are we acting like this woman is less than simply because she's a woman? And when I say she, I'm not talking specifically about Pakisha. I'm
That is
talking
correct.
about women in general.
That is
Why
correct.
nobody ever thought to ask when a male was appointed to that position, boy, I wonder if he could handle that. That ain't too much for him.
My God, my God.
And
Yeah.
yet we don't understand how we perpetuate these
That is-
biases when we continue to have that way of thinking.
Yes, and it affects us too, because for that out of the heart, they said abundance of the heart, the mind speaks, and the mouth speaks. And so therefore, if that person, and that person could be multiplied even by women,
Yes.
including women. And I'm saying that to say that's just how they treat us. I have to prove myself over and over again in this country. I have to prove myself over and over again, with those who are around me. Whereas when I go to my counterparts in other countries, there's respect. There's value for what I bring. There is an interest in wanting to know. But in our country, there is this, it goes back to the treatment. You're talking 400 years of sustained behavior and thinking and formation of our essence and our identity, which is again, it's wicked because it has a little truth in who we are, but has some lies mixed up in there.
I want to read one of our Facebook comments. This one is from Stacy. Stacy says, "You have to be really foolish to think that women are incapable of leadership when most households are headed by women, mostly single mothers who are doing an incredible job raising their kids. And quite frankly, many of them don't have a choice. Because I hate to say it, if they had to sit back and wait for the male figure to step in, then what would become of those children who need to be fed and the fathers are nowhere in the picture?"
And
again,
doing a phenomenal job.
I'm telling you. And again, for y'all out there who a little touchy and catching feelings already, this show is not about bashing men. Because one of the things that bothers me, and I know we have to take a break, one of the things that bothers me is when you start to have these conversations, the first thing they jump up with is, "Oh, y'all hate men." No. Why do you believe that in order to advance a woman, you have to diminish a man? Why can't they stand side by side? What's wrong with that idea? Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
And it really bothers me. And maybe it's intentional, but it really bothers me when people try to make it seem that people who speak for the rights of women have a problem with men, want to push down men. It's not about that. It's not about that.
No, I've lifted up my husband.
Have a role to play.
All my life, all my public life, I've celebrated him. 33 years, 37, knowing him 33 in marriage. And as a matter of fact, I owe 80% of my success, my accomplishments to him. And I only said 80. I would go even higher, but I said, let me leave God in there because God brought us together. But I'm telling you with regards to the guidance. So no, for me, when it comes to me, it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about the reality and the pain of our relationships that are damaged and both, even the way we speak to men sometimes, meaning women, it is painful.
All right, we're going to talk more about that and more on the other side of the break. This is International Women's Day, and you're listening to GPS Global Paradigm Shift with my guest, Dr. Jacinta Higgs. We're going to get more to it on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Wanna be pampered? Wanna be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466. At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is Dr. Jacinta Higgs. We are talking International Women's Day, and we're bringing to the fore why it is important for us to all, not just women, but everyone, celebrate International Women's Day for the advancement of the human race. This isn't just about You know, they always accuse me, Dr. Higgs, of being a feminazi, I've been called, because I have the nerve to stand up and say, no, 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 let's not push our women down. Let's not hold our women back. Let's celebrate the accomplishments of our women. And some people take offense to that because they take that to mean as we are promoting women over men. But it's not about that. I like to use the word equity when it comes to this discussion because there's a big difference between equity and equality. Equity, to me, is more desired because we all have different needs. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen this illustration of a group of 4 people go to the ballpark to watch a game through the fence. One is a man, another is a woman, another is a boy, and another is a girl, all different heights. And so they're all given the same step to watch the game on. Well, clearly, the man can see over the fence because he's already taller. The woman can barely see over the fence. The boy and the girl can't see anything because they are much shorter than the adults. So that's what equality looks like. Now, equity is a different story because now with equity, the man doesn't need to stand on a box because he can already see over the fence. The woman only needs 1 box because she's already tall enough to see over the fence with the 1 box. The boy gets 2 boxes and that helps him to see over the fence, and the girl gets 3 boxes. So equity now is about giving or allowing that person to have what they need, as opposed to just saying everybody gets the same thing. That's the difference between equality and equity. Which do you think, Dr. Higgs, do you think it's important that we have a conversation about equity when it comes to the rights of women and girls? Dr. Higgs, can you hear me? I'm not sure what's happening. I think okay, now I can see. Okay, go ahead.
The streaming.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead. You can answer now.
There's a challenge with the streaming.
Okay,
equity is critical. It is important.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you can hear me well because there is
I can hear you.
With
Yes.
the streaming.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, for example, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, I'll talk. Okay, so equity is the example that you shared. And so the tall man who was able to see over the fence without needing to stand on a box, he took his box and he gave it to the shortest person there. So that short person had 2 boxes and was beautiful.
Oh dear. It seems that her stream it's lost. So hopefully she'll be able to log back on soon. She's been having some problems with her stream, her internet connection. Oh, there she's back up now. So let's get her back on the stream. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
we can hear you perfectly now.
An example we talk about here. Yeah. So the Prime Minister, the government of the Bahamas in this administration is giving out crown land. And so I'm sure the records could show that if the record shows, let's be fair, if the record shows that men have been getting crown land for years, then equity is that if you have 20 pieces of crown land to give out, then you should give 12 or 13 to women and 7 to men, because in your records, it is reflecting that previously, when you take the whole Excel spreadsheet, that men would have been getting crown land more. Now, I'm saying that to say, we in the Bahamas women, so if you have 2 children, your boy child has just as much right as your girl child. They're both Bahamians. They're both in need. And in some cases now, as women have the very strong social networking, they talk They ask questions. They're not afraid to ask for directions, etc. These are some of the stereotypes, but these are also some of the traits. Then a woman may be very successful in getting that crown land, building upon that crown land and doing an investment, a cooperative, where she not only just deals with her success and her family, but we're anticipating, because of the habits of women, that you can get her to more beautifully think about the whole Foxhill community. You'll think about the whole community. You'll think about the whole South Andros or the South Elutra. All right. And so therefore, equity then is when someone who has not been given for a long while or ever been given, as you seek to share or give out something, take a moment and say, wait a minute, the people in Abaco or the people in South Elutra, North Elutra, they never got, or we never did anything for them. Let us now appropriate a little bit more percentage, an extra 1 or 2% of the resources that you're giving out to those people who didn't get. That's equity. And then there's something called inclusion. So let me explain. On that same photograph, you have the 3 people, tall man, and then a medium-sized height girl, and then a very short person. And so then he beautifully resolved it by giving his box to the shortest one, and sure enough, that short one was able to see over. And then here comes the person in the wheelchair. And so then it's called now inclusion, to make sure that when you design the box or the item, the object that you're going to let people stand on, for God's sake, think about a ramp. And so that's inclusion. And so therefore, when you're thinking about resources that you're going to give out, and you're going to have a big town meeting in Abaco as an official organization or a government entity, for God's sake, think inclusion. Take a translator, because you may have persons in the room who speak Creole. And then for God's sake, take someone who does sign language, because someone, so therefore, Michelle, you said it earlier, we're talking about International Women's Day. And International Women's Day brings all of this language. It's called gender mainstreaming, when you begin to now train, teach, and work with people to help them to be inclusive, to celebrate diversity, not because someone is different from you means that they are defective or deficient, like Jeremiah Wright likes to say. They're not deficient. They're just different. And so therefore, again, all of this, Michelle, is in carrying our people with us in terms of how they think, how they treat people. And finally, I think it was Hillary Clinton, but they were pushing that women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights, because that's what you're saying. If we get more for a woman, that woman have children, she may have men children, she has a husband, if not a partner, she has brothers, she has uncles, she has a father. And so therefore, as we empower, let us seek to spread out the empowerment as much as possible, so that everybody is able to get a little bit of the resources.
Really, and that's really what the day is all about.
Yes, ma'am.
Helping to raise awareness for us
Yes,
to understand that, when you help a woman or a girl become all that she can be, you are not just benefiting her, you're benefiting everyone whose lives she touches. And so, the funny thing about privilege is, for the privileged, they don't really have an easy task of seeing their privilege. So they will say, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you mean. If a person is racist, they have a hard time seeing racism from the eyes of a person of color or opposite, because they don't experience that. They don't have any reason to think about that. And so they challenge you when you say, but there's racism. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't, because you're not living the experience. And so when we bring that to this conversation, we often see where men say, like we heard our own prime minister say the other day, I don't know what y'all talking about. My secretaries are women, and this one is a woman, and the next one is a woman. Because as a man with privilege, you can't see, you don't have an appreciation for what it is that that woman is facing. And so if you are in a position of privilege, how important is it for you then to open your eyes and ears and heart to hear from those who are saying we are at a disadvantage?
So it's critical, and I love what you said because I heard that response as well. Now, language, Michelle, I listen to you all the time, and there is beauty in your articulation and your word choice, your enunciation, your grasp and understanding of the English language. I struggle all my life, and I still do, with understanding certain concepts because I went to, in some cases, schools where at that point I didn't get all that I needed in terms of in the English language classroom, believe it or not. It's true. I want to say to you that word choice and language is so critical, and that is why in our department today, right now, we're having a huge summit, and it's, as a matter of fact, it's from 6 o'clock until maybe 6, meaning that we have to sit and train people. So let me tell you how he could have shared that, and or his advisor, well, they could have shared that and was well-meaning, or so they thought, because you if you say, oh, we want women in leadership, and so I don't hardly say that anymore. I say I don't even say women in politics. I want a woman in politics. I've been in politics. I've been in politics, and I gave it my best. I gave it my family's all, my husband and I, my family. We want more women in parliament, and we want more women in cabinet.
Let's be specific. If they don't understand what we're saying. Go ahead.
You have to be specific what it wants.
Okay.
Yes. So then the response that was given really was acceptable to some aspects of the United Nations, because literally, Michelle, I have a speech where, and I didn't realize all that he said. I'm now sharing them in a document because that's United Nations wants several categories or levels of women in leadership. They even call it women in public life, and that's what they're saying. So there, I hear them, and his response, literally, I'm thankful for, because I'm saying the head of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, that's former Senator Kay Forbes Smith, that's a woman, because they want to know this. The head of the Climate Intergovernmental Panel, that's Dr. Adele Thomas, that's a woman. The head of the SDG unit, which is critical for the United Nations, because they want to know who's guiding the SDG goals, that's a woman. We said the head of the Senate, that's a woman. The head of this, and we kept going on and on. But now I'm going to add the ones that he said. But if you say what about parliament and what about cabinet?
There you go.
Those answers are very specific. They're going to need a quota. So all over the world, there are over 80 countries around the world that literally had to go to, because they experienced the same thing with us. Some of the women didn't want to leave, Michelle, because here it is. They said, and we are taught, because we learn adages or proverbs, a bird in the hand is worth 50 in the bush. You mean I'm going to leave my job that I'm sure of, that I built my career on, and then I'm going to do politics, and I'm not sure if I'm getting back into my job. And so therefore, you asked earlier, how are we going to get these women? There are certain things. One is a quota. That's by law. Both of the main political parties, and including all of the others. I know Mrs. Komalefe and Ali McIntosh and the other leaders will have no problems with it, because their track record shows that they choose almost 50-50 women. So that's a good thing, right? But all of them, the political system, because let me tell you, if they continue going to the UN, they're going to be called out. The women they are becoming like the women's suffrage movement, like Doris Johnson and Mary Ingram. They ain't playing no more. The women at the civil society, they're not playing it. They're going to call it out. As a matter of fact, I went to Chile. I've never seen anything like it. And the NGOs who were allowed into the United Nations, they dressed properly in their nice jackets and attire. They came into the session, and when one of the leaders who was considered an abuser of women stood up to speak, they took off their Michelle, I was shocked. I mean, silence. They took off their jacket and they stood there and they turned their backs to her, and the shirts had all the words on it. That was most disgusting. They are getting organized to embarrass leaders who do not include more women in parliament, in cabinet, using a quota system. And the quota system has been around for a long time. I'm just now learning about it. And then also women in terms of sending them or letting them have seats where I know it happened to me. You ran against this huge incumbent with a huge resources, and then you put them there. I did well, very well, commendably so. However, they're saying, make sure put women in one or two of your safe seats. Put them in one or two of your safe seats. That's a critical thing, and so that's another thing. Then also they're saying funding. Have some funding when that funding is being divvied out. And that's what we're talking about, equity and equality. And Michelle, if we write these things down in a policy document, it becomes a little scary, because now you have a policy document that you can literally be charged with, meaning we can say, wait a minute, see here, you all signed onto this. You all signed. So therefore we're saying money is one of the things. Tools, training, resources. These are things that are necessary with regards to bringing in the recruits. And then also negotiation. You have people go away and they negotiate at the highest level of the world. You tell me you come here and you can't negotiate with job owners to share with them that if your employee working at this organization even gets, that's a big thing for the company if that woman is able to get into parliament. That says a lot in terms of you have good leadership if you're recruiting people, recruiting women. So there should be a recruitment process, there should be a funding process, there should be a strategic quota process in terms of them following a checklist guideline. And we don't have it here in the country. And I'm telling you, the theme for CSW this year is that. And so when Minister and I go to the session, and I'm sure other ministers go to the Commonwealth session and the CARICOM session and the ECLAC session, the Latin American Caribbean, it's coming up.
We have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to GPS. Hello, caller. Okay, that caller hung up. Okay, so the telephone lines to call, 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. 828-3543 is the number to call. And the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543 is the number to text. So if you want to ask Dr. Higgs a question, or if you have a comment with regard to what we're discussing today, you are free to join in on the conversation. Again, the telephone number to call is 828-3543, 828-3543, and the number to text is 828-2543, 828-2543. So hopefully that person who called will call us back. Okay. And I guess everything that you would have just so eloquently laid out really was talking about how to shatter this glass ceiling. Because yes, women have made strides at varying levels, but when it comes to the very, very top levels, that's where there's this invisible ceiling over us. And the point that we're trying to make today is it's time to break that ceiling. I mean, to shatter it, not just break it, because if you break it, some pieces may still stand. We need to shatter that thing so that women will not be hindered from advancing to the highest ranks. If we look around the world and we see the jobs that women are doing in leadership, some of them being hailed, the leader of New Zealand right now is making New Zealand an envied place because everybody can see what a phenomenal job she is doing at leading that nation. And there are many other examples. And so we know that there is no limit on what a woman can do. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people try to throw in, a woman can't make a good leader because women are too emotional. I dare say that maybe if men were more empathetic to the way people were feeling, maybe if they had some more emotions in them, they'd make better decisions for their people. And I honestly think that it is very condescending when people try to throw that in the face of a woman. Oh, that's your problem. You're too emotional. How do you respond to that, Dr. Higgs?
Yes, and so and Michelle, this goes back again to something earlier that we were talking about. We have to now train. I'm telling you literally because we were not taught it, but I have seen where countries have documents, guiding documents that even give responses. And so therefore I remember in one of the courses I did, the emotional is now an intelligence, and men are now seeking to capitalize on the wealth and the asset of emotional intelligence. That's a big thing now. As a matter of fact, many companies don't hire you, or they won't want you if you do not possess some aspects of emotional intelligence. I remember a professor, a man, and so I wanted to say that as well. There's something called in United Nations, he for she, and it's a man who understands the plight of a woman, someone who's had a little sister and understands, or an older sister, who values his mother, his aunties, the women in his life, his wife. And he recognized that, one day my daughter, not just for selfish purposes, but again, recognizing that if there is a ceiling that we put women under, it's also going to affect the men. Because if I'm operating at a capped ceiling, oppressed state, then you won't get the best from me either. You can't get me. You wouldn't get the best of me. And so in terms of women being emotional, that is an asset. And so we have to now just begin to know the script so that we can flip the script back on them. In terms of, women get hysterical or women do this, there is a beauty. Remember I said there's something called diversity. We are different, but we are not deficient. And you said for a woman to even bring a child into this world, and yes, we beautifully received the sperm or the seed from the man. But again, Miles Monroe, oh my God, I'm Roman Catholic, so I don't have an investment in Global Monroe or Monroe Global, but I do know that I listened to him over and over again. And he was saying, if the man gives her his seed, his sperm, she will give him a whole child, a whole inheritor, someone who will inherit a legacy, a name for his family. He was saying, if you give her a few dollars, she knows how to turn that around. You can still get a nice hot meal and can fix it up nice and good. In most cases, especially a woman, if you treat her well, is right as well. You treat her well as also, but she will give you that back. And he said, and if you give her trouble, she'll give you hell. Do you understand? And she needs to give you help. That's what that young girl was saying in the video. And that's what that church message was saying yesterday with Jesus. And Jesus plugged that rope because he gave them hell, because it's, again, righteous indignation to get something done. Whereas the men, they are cool as a cucumber. They do have egos that are something. EGO is to ease God out. And so we need to be tapped into our, so let me go pray about it. They don't like that either, because they want to make a decision. But no, we have to understand that there are creative beings, whatever you want to call it, but there is energy and synergy and spirituality and synchronicity where you have to sit and become one in silence so that you can hear organic wisdom, not just operating on your ego. And so, yes, beautifully we complement each other. And Michelle, I won't go back to this.
That's
Barak was in the Bible. That's in Judges. Michelle, they used to say, oh, Jacinta, you are Esther for such a time as this. You've come into the kingdom. And then the elderly lady said, no, Jacinta, you ain't no Esther. She said, go and look up Deborah. And Michelle, when I read Judges at age 55 in the position I'm in now, that revolutionized me. Because remember, Deborah was the wise ruler. She was a ruler. That's what she was. A judge.
Yes,
made decisions over a whole land of people. They were in trouble. And she summons for Barak to come to her. Get this straight. Now, I don't know where he been. I don't know where Barak been. And let me get into the emotional they talk about. Let me get straight, because sometimes you talk nice and do. No, you got to say, where you been, Barack? You ain't see the people here suffering. You have to go and sort this out. You know what Barack said to her? Say he's not going if she don't go with him.
That's right.
He was wise. He knew that together, the complementarity of the different gifts that God gave them would have worked so beautifully that they would have accomplished it with precision. And sure enough, it was done that way.
But Dr. Higgs, you touch on
So
something.
the men have to realize that. Yeah, man. Too many men in a room. That's not balance. That's not beauty. That's not brilliance.
Yeah, we have to take a break, but you touch on something that we're going to do more than touch on the other side of the break, and that is women in leadership in the church. Because I dare say that much of this attitude that we have as it relates to women not being able to lead comes from the pulpit. And I want to talk about that on the other side. So stay with us, everybody. This is GPS. You're listening to us on this International Women's Day. We're going to talk more about women in leadership in the church. And then at some point during the show, I'm also going to give Dr. Higgs an opportunity to talk about the programs that her department is heading and how you can get involved. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Dress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, 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 boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles in women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robertson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information. Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and today is International Women's Day, and we are talking about it. My guest is none other than Dr. Jacinta Higgs, And it's always a pleasure to be in the company of greatness. Thank you so much, Dr. Higgs, for joining us again. Dr. Higgs is the Director of Gender and Family Affairs, and she has a very rich legacy of leadership in our country. And we're talking about women in leadership, and also we're challenging you to take a stand against the biases and the stereotypes that continue to keep women and children down. Now, unfortunately, one place where the stereotypes and biases is very, very rich and alive is in the church. We still see in some denominations where they say women are not allowed to speak and women can't lead and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And obviously they're going to a particular scripture. When Paul was talking about women should be quiet in the church. And, you know, one thing that I don't understand is how people can take a particular scripture, not look at the context in which it was written, and turn that into a gospel. Because clearly Paul was speaking to a specific situation. In that particular church, as I've been taught, men sat on one side of the church, the women sat on the other side of the church. And whenever the teacher said something that a woman didn't necessarily understand, the practice was they would shout out across the way to their husbands for clarification, and this was disrupting to the service. And so Paul says, women, be quiet in the church. So we take that scripture and we go make that gospel. Paul said that women shouldn't speak in the church. So I can't have you as a woman lead in my church. And it is these kinds of biases and stereotypes that continue to prevail because they are being reinforced by people who people look up to for leadership and guidance and even spiritual guidance. So how do you break that cycle? I mean, this is so deeply entrenched. What do we do to break that? Or is it even possible to break that?
I know one thing, and I want to use me as an example. You're better off because of what was done and how it was done. I remember as a young child hearing the word indoctrination, then the word doctrine, and then precepts, right? And then I went into the dissertation and I did Afrocentric epistemology, and then I heard about the word morphology, pathological, cultural, and spiritual. What was done even now forms an aspect of your identity, but not just your identity, your psychology. So literally, Michelle, if you attempt to change aspects of what the old structural someone used the word almost like a witchcraft, because it's entrenched. If you go and try and remove that from some people, it's going to cause a psychological breakdown. You could literally mess with their mind, and they can
start calling. They start saying, "You of the devil. You of the devil. You're on here trying to come and bring this false doctrine. You of the devil."
So for example, let's go to someone I knew was a part of a Rastafarian faith, and the person was in their height of element in being in that community. And there was misunderstanding or ignorance and fear. Oh, you joined that Rastafarian, oh my God. And so therefore there was an antagonism, there was a consistent pounding of the essence of that individual until they cut their hair, and then that messed with them. And so I'm saying that to say I'm Roman Catholic, and I have never even heard, I kid you not, I've never even heard that part where the women be quiet. Because guess what? In that church, the Catholic Church, they just straight up structural. This is what it is, and this is what you will take. Now remember, that's what it is. And then back then, in the history of the Catholic Church, then they superimposed that thinking and the belief system on you to the point where, I kid you not, during COVID, as I sat in the room. I was actually caught in the United States, and so I was there for at least 2 to 3 months. And yet I was scared. Like on a Sunday, I was saying, "Oh my God, like what's Jesus? Like, oh my God, the church is closed down. Like, oh my God." I had to recalibrate. I had to recalibrate because the doors of the temples, the mosques, the synagogues, and the churches were bolted. And I'm saying that to say to you that there is a long-standing, entrenched indoctrination of their precepts and structure. They don't even have to give no excuse. It is what it is, and then if you don't, then you leave. And so I'm saying that to say to you, Michelle, you know, time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, they say time longer than man, time longer than rope. And so, as the system is now suffering from lack of recruitment and lack of interest of new young men coming into the church, time will tell what that church will do to survive. Meanwhile, though, let's go to the individual self, meaning with regards to you, what do you do? One of them, and you talked about segueing into what can be done. One of the things you want to do, International Women's Day, and this is for women and men, this is for mothers and fathers, this is for uncles and aunts and everyone. You want to begin to establish a sense of agency. We weren't taught that in schools. You have certain key clubs and certain clubs. What you do with the pageants is agency, it's action, it's recognition. It is to sit, to observe, to go out, to ask questions, to discern, to sympathize, to empathize, and to identify what is it that I wish to make better at the end of my life. So agency, action, awareness. And then you want to do advocacy. So, because you become knowledgeable and aware. Awareness, yeah, that's that, we can say, oh yeah, she became aware of it. And I mean, not do anything, diddly squat, nothing. So then you really want to do advocacy. You want to go out there and you want to help. You want to ask questions. You want to challenge things. And then beautiful, some challenge is beautiful too, but there are different ways to challenge. And I call it the war of maneuver and the war for positioning and the war for appropriation, all with a smile. Because if you challenge and they know you're coming challenging, then you wouldn't know when they pick up, like Shivago say, who moved my conch? You would know when they pick up the resources. And Michelle, you mess yourself if you go there, with that kind of spirit. So there's advocacy and then there's agitation. So for example, not just you. So when you agitate, and agitate is not bad. The pearl in the conch is created because the sand got inside the shell. It went against the body, the mollusk of that skin, that soft skin. And the skin then began to produce a membrane, mucus around it. And it came out to pearls that people go and do. So agitation, you see, how do you look at things? And so you have to agitate by simply writing letters. And so, for example, if you see something in the country that's not going well, you write letters. You write. And nowadays, Michelle, we don't even have to take a long gold pen with no feather and no ink and dab it and then write. Or even, literally, I don't know when the last I saw my handwriting. You can simply take an email and send it out there. Now, people can also take an email or they put it on Facebook, they put you on blast. So agitation is also a form of a methodology of progress. And then you also advise. So I remember when the Prime Minister first came on, and I'm honest with it, I'm not afraid of anything, I am who I am. But I remember when he came on and he said, please, he said, this is COVID. In his very first few weeks, he said, please send me an email. He said, if you have an idea, send me an email. And I said, yeah, right. I will never forget this. I said, yeah, right. And sure enough, I don't know if it was because a woman was down there doing some stuff in terms of leading, but I know for sure I was in awe and also embarrassed when he came out and said, we received 761 emails, persons with ideas, and these are how we're using the ideas, these are the ways, this is what we most found most valuable. And then immediately thereafter, I went onto the site, and so now I'm a member of that site and follow and get the press releases, so I'm informed. But also, I can also advise. And then finally, you must align yourself. And so, even if it is a group that is not the best in its essence, you find a way to align, and that's what we do here at the Department of Gender and Family Affairs. Literally, right now, National Women's Advisory Council, Coralie Adderley, Dr. Cleopatra Williams, Erica Moxie, Pastor Erica Moxie, Dr. Deborah Bartlett, and crew. They are putting on, Michelle, I am telling you, we could have paid minimum $50,000 for what they're putting on today. She has speakers from all over the world. And Michelle, they're just doing it because they love it, because we align with women who mean well and who want to agitate and advocate, and they want to improve and they want to make aware. And so therefore, the department and the Ministry of Social Service and Urban Development, we are so grateful, because that's an investment that they're making because of the partnership. And the same thing with CWIL, who's getting ready to now train political aspirants. We only dealing with the women though, because this is where equity comes in. People will say, Dr. Higgs, that's not fair. How could you all only invest in the women? Because that's where the very first thing you said, Michelle, this is now equity. Because my God, if you have 34 men and then only 5 women, by George, whatever investment Jacinta has, it's going to a woman. And so that's equity. All right. And so again, just until such time as that we get equality, I remember the Prime Minister responded, because when he gave out land papers for land in the Southern Island, I looked at the list of names and I say, oh my God, no, he didn't. Because I just saw men. And we started saying, now, I don't know if he listened to us, because sometimes you can't get in there the way you'd like. But I know through my minister's always advocating. My minister's traveled to conferences and he knows the language, the lingo, the purpose. But sure enough, in one island he went to, he gave more to women. And I said, okay, good. But then remember, equality is all we're saying, so that we don't aggravate the men. Men are our partners.
Yes. So, and that's really what it's all about, partnership. Nobody's trying to promote one over the other. We have to work together. That's the whole idea. I want to read a couple of comments from Facebook. Anastasia says, I believe women can be pastor, teacher, leader, missionary, evangelist, and more. But the true gospel of Jesus has been controlled by men towards women. And she goes on to say, because they twist the word of God for their ego. Dr. Higgs, what did you say ego stands for again?
EGO, you ease God out. And that, I know that is a psychology terminology. I did Psych 101. You have the ego and the id and all that. But ego, Deepak Chopra, Oprah Winfrey, they had a beautiful, beautiful curriculum program on this. It is when you begin to think with your God complex, your mind and yourself and my degrees, and you make decisions based on those. And so then you ease God out, and that's ego. We teach the children, don't do EGO, do GOD. Go to God as your default.
That is powerful. That is powerful. Okay. We have a lot of women in the Bahamas and indeed the region and the world who, for whatever reasons, are not in a position where, even if we were to say there's equity or equality, they are not in a position, because of the disadvantages that they have faced over their lives, to take advantage of that. So we have a lot of work to do as it relates to empowering women. And when I say that, I'm talking about education, social services. And I know that as the Director of Gender and Family Affairs, you see quite a bit of this in terms of what is really existing out there in our community as far as the needs of these women are. The majority, by far, of households in this country are headed by women. And yet many of them, women make up the majority of the people in poverty. So what needs to happen in order to ensure that women are positioned to take advantage of the equality and equity in the day that it does come to be?
So one thing, just before going to the women who can take advantage of it. So there are terminologies we use for those women. We
Okay.
call them marginalized
Marginalized. Okay.
and those who are most vulnerable.
Mm.
And then they have multiple vulnerabilities, my God, because, you know, they're indigent, which means impoverished. They lack resources. Then they may not be able to read as well. So there is a level of illiteracy. And then because the family structure and the background, they don't have money. And so therefore there's lack of resources. And then because their parents, it's cyclical, maybe did not go to university and don't know even how to fill out the form, etc., then there is that intergenerational trap, meaning that my mommy, like I remember my husband, both my husband and I were able to advise my daughter. My husband, every step of the way with the application forms. And so, yes, sometimes my children weren't smarter than other people's children, but they had parents who sat, who knew, okay, you have to do the SAT. We knew what was needed in order to prepare them well enough. So those are multiple vulnerabilities and marginalization. Yes, the Bible says that the poor will be with us always, but by George, the Bible also talked about Lazarus and say, let him get some crumbs. I'm not a biblical scholar, but if I'm not mistaken, the crumbs fell at the table. At least get something. Because nowadays, Michelle, you have some people whose spirits are so self-absorbing and so selfish that they will take all the crumbs to them, make sure, like they'll take the hand and wipe it in their plate to make sure not even the crumbs fall down. And
Dr. Higgs,
that's that.
You are being very, very diplomatic. The word is greed. They're greedy. They hawks.
Yeah.
All
Oh my
for me
God,
and mine and none
Jesus,
for yours.
Jesus of mercy.
Let's call it
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And
So
so
go ahead,
now
Michelle.
what?
I'm sorry to
And
interrupt.
then no, I hear you. I hear you. And then we talk about, because I teach and we have a slide, and I heard someone referencing this morning where you have the man, he's on a tall pedestal, and the one way down below him has the ladder in his hand. And so you know what that one did when he got up there? He pushed that ladder down. Some people say David ain't gonna push it down because the people might get it right back and lean up against the wall and try to get up. Some people say they pull it up with them. Man, Michelle, I don't know if you hear that. They pull the ladder up. And so therefore, there is no chance even of you getting again. So then your question is, how do these vulnerable, these marginalized, these disenfranchised, these disadvantaged people, let's say young women and young men, let's now go to men and women, how do they take advantage? So for example, the largest amounts of scholarships in the country that are given out is if you go to a government high school. That is phenomenal. And I thank God for Monique Kinsey and all previous ministers who continue to do that, right? And current minister. But Michelle, there are some people, they don't even know they need coaching, they need mentoring, they need guidance. They don't know. They don't know about the SAT. People exploit them, and then, so I'm saying that to say to you, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, but for the grace of God. And so I may have a doctor of education degree, but I tell you, Michelle, on this International Women's Day, I don't use that to guide me. You talk about your GPS, your God point spiritual guide is what I use. I don't use my degree because the degree was for such a point, such a time. It gave me skills and training and methodologies to use to apply in new situations. But as I enter new situations every day as best as I can, I ask for God's guidance. And so a child or a family or a woman who's the head of a house struggling, but for the grace of God and humility, sometimes if she prayed that night in travail, I do believe in it. The next morning, she might walk right next to someone at a counter in the food store. She's going to buy a 99 cents breakfast, and she may walk up to someone through God's grace and guidance who may offer her a job or opportunity. And let me be very specific now in terms of what you're asking. The Access program, and again, we haven't gone there yet in terms of me directly meeting with those leaders. I watch them from a distance and very, very carefully. But they can, it's all well and good what they do, what they have, how they want to love on people and share with them, the $55 million, etc. But there are some young women out there who don't know how to fill out the forms. And I know the Business Development Center will say, come, we will teach you. But some of them don't even have access to come. And then they'll say, yeah, but if they go to the disco, if they go into the club, they would go. Yeah, but that's not everybody. That's generalizing it. That's not everybody. And maybe when they go there, they are most comfortable, again, because of entrenched intergenerational habits and environment. And so I'm saying that it is critical for us. You say, how do we get to them? You must go where they are. And so our department wanted to work with migrant women. I heard the young girl, some of the vulnerable persons are young people. They're vulnerable because they do not have years of experiential wisdom to help make decisions sometimes. So they really seek a mentor. You have the homeless. Right now, I heard that there are about 300 persons out there living in cars. That's what we're hearing on the ground. And so the NGO who came in to let me know, I told them, please, I would like to do a tour with you. I want to go in the car. So he will guide me. Let some of them know because I want to go and actually see and talk with them. Because then you want to align. That's the word I meant. You want to align with the people you so wish to help. You have to align with your girls, Michelle. When you talk with them, train them, work with them, Michelle, you have to. Yeah, and so
we have a caller on the line. So let's just put a pin in that, and then let's take this call. And then on the other side of the break, after this call, we're going to go more into all of your programs. Okay. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle. How
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Great, thank you. I'm a first-time caller, and forgive me if I'm a little bit nervous, but
that's okay.
I've been listening to your talk show, and I'm a young woman here in the Bahamas, and I feel rather passionate about the Bahamas, not as a woman, but as a Bahamian. As a Bahamian. And I can recall some 20 years ago, I'm not indigent. I am a professional woman. I've gone to various universities all over the world. And I can recall some 20 years ago, I think under the PLP administration, I was holding a position with the Women's Association of the Bahamas. I'm not sure if that's the correct name. And I went into a meeting with the persons that were presenting at that time. And they would have been MPs of the Progressive Liberal Party. And coming out of that meeting, in my innocence and in my desire to serve, I asked one of the leaders then, I said, it's very impressive that, we have so many women in Parliament right now. But I asked her a very innocent question. I said, but what kind of room is being made for those of us that desire to serve? I said, what type of access is being made available to us? And I was shut down immediately, and she walked away.
Wow.
She walked away. There are many questions, there are many names that you've mentioned on this radio that I've had some contact with. And I can say as a professional woman completing my PhD that the access that we need is often denied us, and mainly by women. Mainly by women.
Very good point.
I'm not a Christian. I am not uneducated. But I have found myself leaving government after 28 years, just throwing away all of my benefits because I'm being denied access to, and the privilege and the honor to serve my country after many, many, many years of sacrifice and dedicated and hard work. So, you know, sitting down and listening to Dr. Jacinta Higgs, it sounds so very wonderful. But the truth of the matter is that there are people that have been in place and positions that have not made it possible, that have in certain instances blocked Bahamian women. Not just from politics, but just from practicing, you know, what their gifting is in the Bahamas. People get in positions and they are totally wrapped up, I heard you use the word, within themselves and totally carried away by a position. And that's why we find ourselves in this position right now, because we've failed to be responsible for what God has given to us as people. And if you will, as women, we've failed to be responsible and to pull others up.
Very, very powerful words, caller. Thank you so much for calling and making your contribution to the show today. Dr. Higgs, how do you respond to her?
She's right. And Michelle, I said 400 years, because you know this is we're just coming now out of that 400 years since we were first landed in the U.S. in terms of slavery. It's you know that they say you have some cancer cells and you can unlock it. We all have a little bit of these diseases in us.
Right.
But if your disposition is very angry all the time or bitter, or if your health and the food, just like the program, because I watch you in terms of the program that you're running, if you use things that can give you your healthy, balanced cleansing, then you can keep at bay almost, or even put a bolt on some of those diseases, and then you will live longer, well, and healthier. So literally, the jealousy, sometimes envy, sometimes anger, bitterness, greed, the selfishness, they live right beneath our skin. And Michelle, I live it every day in terms of having to consciously not hurt another, not keep down. So for example, you know, I have a young staff at my business and she wants to do schooling. And Michelle, one, there should be a little support in terms of giving monies to go to school. Not only that, there should be days, okay, you don't come in on this Friday, stay to do your classes. Make sure you get all your coursework and then you can make sure bring me that transcript to show me the A's and the diploma. But the point is, we don't know about facilitating one another. Well, Michelle, the mere fact, what this lady is talking about, how you're blockers. You're blockers. Oh my God. And Michelle, it's all tied up in the residual pain of self-negation. I'm a big, fat, Black woman, and I love it. I dress it up with my African attire. I know who I am. Thank God I have a husband who loves who I am. Do I want to stay fat? No, I want to lose weight because I now have 2 grandchildren. But the point is, I have to first love Jacinta, accept my accomplishments and my flaws and weaknesses. So Michelle, you don't block a woman like her. She's striving. She would have a boss, and I know just what she is saying. They will block you, and they thrive on it. I am trying to say that we must move to a sense of forgiveness and peace and self-acceptance. Now, for me, and I can't tell anybody else this, but it really happened when I went off to school, and then I began to see them think, act differently. And then they taught me about my Afrocentric spirituality and essence of my God self. And so if I walk in that goddess realm, sometimes that's why I tie my hair. You cannot be digging somebody in the back with a knife. And so then I would sit down, even when it's happening to me, and I would smile. Sometimes I cuss too, but then for the most part, I would just smile, or I would forgive again and then work with them again. But I
The bottom
understand what she's saying.
Yeah, it's real. The bottom line is this: the road is hard enough as it is for women, and we women need to stop making it harder by hating on each other. I'm gonna put it out there. We are in many instances our own worst enemy. I can let y'all marinate on that, but we take this next commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk about the many programs that the Department of Gender and Family Affairs has going on, and Dr. Higgs is going to be able to tell us how you can specifically get involved if you'd like to help. So stay with us. This is GPS.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want. Ocean blue got it. Ocean blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean blue is the best in seafood, yeah. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean blue seafood, we are here for you. Ocean blue seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Want to look your best and feel even better? Visit J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa for the ultimate beauty, body, and anti-aging treatments, offering custom colors, haircuts, vegan anti-freeze treatments, silk blowouts, natural and acrylic nails, unisex pedicures, facials, and massages, all waxing services, and microcurrent therapies for anti-aging and body sculpting. J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madeira Street, telephone 326-7863. At the Gladstone Road Farmers Market, we provide you with the freshest produce, eggs, meat, and more. But what you don't see makes a difference too, like the care our farmers put into growing and raising that food for your family, the fewer miles that food travels from the farm to your plate, and the dollars you are keeping in our local community. Our open-air market is every Friday and Saturday. Come visit us, and be sure to look for the GPS-endorsed flyer. COVID-19 has affected all of us, but it won't stop us from serving you with a smile, even under the mask. Gladstone Road Farmers Market, home of fresh.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. My guest today is Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Director of Gender and Family Affairs. We are talking about this being International Women's Day, and the theme, the UN theme for International Women's Day is Women in Leadership. And there's also another theme that's floating around out there called Choose to Challenge. And so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about International Women's Day and how we all, men, women, boys, girls, need to really do some introspection. We need to take a look in the mirror and see how, if we are contributing to these stereotypes and biases against women and girls, and what we need to do to change that. So I want to spend the final portion of the show, Dr. Higgs, talking about the programs that are available through your department. What are some of the things that you're doing? And of course, how people can contact you and get involved.
So first of all, let me begin with the telephone number. So if you call 397-8600, you'll be able to get almost the whole department.
Repeat that number again. Repeat that number again.
397-8600.
Okay.
or 397-8642. So that comes just here to my office, 397-8642. And so our programs are divided, again, gender specific, and then also there are 1-2 family things that we do. But one of the things we do is for women, we have NGO meetings. So we work with NGOs. The NGOs are this department's greatest asset. And I've said that at the United Nations. I'm telling you. So it's not my officers. These are technical officers. There are 10 of us working in this department, but they're all busy doing specific things. We plan, we do administrative things, international observances, and we write reports. So we don't have time to really go out there and do the public awareness. This is an example of it. But the point is, we love working with NGOs. Now, Civil Society Bahamas, and remember, there's 3 things I teach the children. Get your profession, which is your degree, all the things you study, your apprenticeship, your certificates, and that's where your job, that's your profession. Then you follow your passion. And so, Michelle, this is a part of your passion. The beauty pageant, that's a part of your passion, working, mentoring, training young girls. Then you have your purpose for which you were born. And that's divine. That's you shouldn't die unless you do it. And Miles Monroe said, when you do it, then it will reveal itself to you. All right. And then we have National Women's Advisory Council. So that's Ms. Coralie Adderley. This year, we appointed 20 additional women. So that has at least almost 30 women on that council, because I had to get someone from almost every family island, because we are not Nassau centric. Mr. Campbell says you're not just Nassau. And so we included family island representatives. We are so thankful for them. Woman with disability, Erin Brown is there representing women with disability. Migrant woman, we got someone from a major migrant population. And so that's the National Women's Advisory Council. Again, anything you call through us, we will be the conduit or the portal. Then you have CWIL. If you are interested in the following: 1, just training to be a woman transformational leadership, a leader. CWIL is coming up now with a program. We're joint venturing to work with them to do that training. Again, that's Charlene Paul and the Bahamas chapter. If you are a woman candidate, you really should contact the department or Charlene Paul. If you are just an aspirant, let's say you say, Dr. Tiswood, I don't want to do it now, but maybe next 5 years I want to do it, or I'm just really interested in knowing the thinking of a candidate, and a member of parliament or cabinet minister, so I could know how to work with them and advise them, then this is the program for you. If you want to be a campaign worker, if you want to do a campaign donor, or volunteer, campaign manager, so there's training with the CVIL. Then you have Zonta. Zonta is our largest, most effective partner. Anything dealing with gender-based violence, Zonta takes the lead in the campaign for us. Then FOAM, that's Candy Gibson. Candy works with women with special needs shelter. She does the referral. So she will bring them in, assess what needs to happen, try and get them the assistance. Then you have Teen Life Skills. That's Felicia Carey. Then again, she works with young women, single parent. We talk about single parent mothers. Then we send people to the Small Business Development Center. So that's a government entity that we send women there if you want business. Anyone with a migrant, any concern you have as a migrant, then that's Louis George. Louis George is now officially working with IOM, International Organization of Migration. We do training with him, and we also we even went to Abaco, and we worked one program in terms of gender-based violence with the Haitian community there. PACE is another partner, as well as the Feeding Network. That the money from the Feeding Network comes directly out of this ministry. And so in terms of registering, we can help persons to register or to guide them as to where to go. For men, we have International Men's Day. They work with Keith Cox and his team. Men Engage, that's international. Also Teen Challenge, that's Rick Fox, Eric Fox, Pastor Fox, he and Dr. Bishop Wesley Thompson. There's a court mandatory program that they work with. So young men who go to court and the judge say, well, you going to jail. Do you have someone who can mentor you and help you, and you come back in 3 months and let me see you? That's where Rick Fox comes in. So we're very thankful to be partnering with him. Then there is Dave Williams. Dave is at the prison. There's a prison ministry where you see, you just can't work with the women who get raped or abused. or beaten or assaulted. You can't just work with the victims, and we don't call them victims, we call them survivors. You have to go and check out those perpetrators, and you want to mitigate as best as possible. And with God's miraculous help, you want to stop them from coming out and then repeating the cycle. And then you have Toriano, the boxer. He has a male mentorship program. We work with him. LW Young Boys, that's the best boys program we have. Anita Wilmot and Ahmad Burns, they are at LW Young, and they work with this program. It's a male mentorship program for boys, and her boys are top achievers because of the program. So we mentor, we sponsor, co-sponsor them as well. STEM, so girls in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's Tyronda Glinton. She just hosted several major international days of joint venturing with us. With families, we send you to the Bahamas Crisis Center. We ask them, there's also the Department of Social Services here. We have court mandate here. We have family section here as well. And so we have many of the programs. And then training. This department, if you want me to come in your organization, as a matter of fact, whilst we were talking, someone just called and said it's about a training. They just brought this into me. And so therefore, if you want us to train your organization, your staff about gender equality, what is gender equality? You talked about equity. What is equity? What is inclusion? What is diversity? What is mandatory? What is being UN monitored? What is the SDG? What are the SDGs and how do they affect my bottom line, my money, my income, my revenue, and the attitude of my staff, my employees, my family? What is it that I need to know? Because this is a decade of action. And so those are some of the things that we do here, Michelle, at the Department of Gender.
Well, from everything that I just heard you mention, there's something in there for everyone. There's no excuse as to, well, they didn't have anything that I could get involved in. It sounds like there is something in there for everyone to get involved. And I often say it on this show, if you are a professional complainer, you are very good at saying what's wrong, but you ain't rolling up your sleeves and getting in the fight or trying to do something to help change that situation that is bothering you so much, then maybe you're part of the problem. How important is it, Dr. Higgs, for people to understand that they have to roll up their sleeves and get involved? It's not enough to stand on the outside and complain about what you see going wrong if you're not willing to do something to try to solve the problems.
It is so important that your life depend on it. It really, so I tell you, I teach the trinity of teaching. Your profession, which college are you going to, which career, which job path, college fair you're going to. And then what are your passions? What is it that you do 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? I mean, you love it so much. Like, Michael Jordan would play basketball 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you just love it. You do it so naturally well, but just so you know, it's also in your genes. If you go back to 1 or 2 grandparents, you would find the passion. Do that, pursue your passion. And then finally, what is the purpose which you're born? So it is critically important that people pull up their sleeve, even if it starts with just your household, just first of all, just with you, because, a double-headed man and mind and, man, it's no good to himself, meaning you're struggling and you're moping and things going so bad for me, and you're self-negating yourself all over again. Whereas you checkmate yourself, this is where I'm at. I don't want to be here. Who can I help? And just say that. And sure enough, you'll be able to see someone, Michelle, that will walk right into your life, and your passion for free, you'll be able to turn that person's life around. As simple as the lady on the telephone, so beautifully how she shared. She can even help someone write a resume, and that could turn their life around. Even a simple business letter. And that's how come I know that some people out there don't know even how to fill out the forms or do a business plan. But yet there are training, but they ain't gonna tell you that. But I can't understand. I'm scared to come to the training. So again, it is so critical that you pull up your sleeve and stop complaining, or you can slow down on the complaining, because don't let it go away. Sometimes the complaining helps to bounce back in your spirit, so it keeps you, like I say, righteous indignation. So don't stop the complaining. But my God, say when you checklist all the complaint, look at the chart, the column right next door, and you say, okay, now I was complaining, all right, but see here, I did this, and that.
Yes. What can I do to help solve it?
What can I do?
Yes.
ma'am.
Let me read a couple of the comments from Facebook. This one is from Birdie. Hey, Birdie. Birdie says, hats off, Sister Michelle. Thanks for sharing a topic of interest that will increase the quality of life for everyone. Bless your heart. And that's the whole idea. This isn't just about women. This is about humanity.
Yes.
Let's see. Another one by Georgina. Hi, Georgina. Georgina says, I'm so glad I tuned in. This was powerful. This was a powerful show today, packed with inspiration and information. Hats off to Dr. Higgs, and I applaud you for bringing the rain of knowledge. Both Birdie and Georgina and I are part of an international group of women that was put together by Dr. Melida Higgs Barrow through the sixth region Chamber of Commerce, and we are coming together as a group of women to try and inspire and help women around the world. And so it's good to see you ladies here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. There's so much work to be done. So much work to be done, people. It's, we all have to pitch in. We all have to decide that if we want to see a difference in our communities, in our homes, in our personal lives, then we have to get involved. Hi, Anastasia. I see you as well. Anastasia is also a part of that group. Let me just show this comment that she's put up. She says, by the grace of God, I'm going to hold on my passion and be what God ordained me to be. Amen. That's what it's all about, living out that passion and that purpose. That's why we were born. We were put here to make a difference. Okay. Doc, you mentioned something that Debbie Bartlett is involved in, a program that's coming up. Can you tell us more about that?
So right now, they started at 6 o'clock this morning. It's going to end at 5. If you
Okay.
go on the National Women's Advisory Council, it is phenomenal. It's going on well, it's pre-recorded for the most part, and that's why. So it's been going all day. And so they have at least 4 major topics are dealing and issues dealing with women, the celebration of women, but more importantly, the strategic planning for women in parliament. I said, see, you have to be careful what you say, be specific in what you say to get more women in parliament and more women in the cabinet. So they're talking about that. They talk about health issues. And so also education and training. They're talking about blue economy, green economy, orange economy. See, Michelle, these are things that are not taught specifically in schools, or they're not on the curriculum yet. And so we have not made the shift as COVID has come, you see, even in terms of how to do StreamYard. And that's what a project I'm going to do on my vacation, learn to operate that. Because right now, Michelle, young women can sit home and literally, if they become excellent technologists in terms of this, they can make money. And so again, National Women's Advisory Council is having an entire summit for women. The women are coming from all over the world, all over the world. They have guest speakers. Again, this can happen through virtual. I want to thank Marion Bethel Sears because Marion just connected me with one of the gender experts from CEDAW, that's in Geneva. And so literally we had a meeting on Saturday, 1 hour, and now she's coming in and she's going to work with our department to do 2 days of virtual training to help us. So we can do plenty nowadays, Debbie, because Michelle, because of the access to the technology, we can do much more for much less. And people are volunteering because if I can stay home, I did my recording literally right in my office. One of the young men just recorded me, and I sent my message into that summit. And I was there, and yet was able to do something else today. And I'll go back and watch the videotapes. So that's the International Women's Day here in the Bahamas, celebrating the 13 women, only 13 women from 1967 served in the cabinet. Only 13 women since 19. Dame Doris Johnson, Dr. Dame Doris Johnson, she was the first one. She was appointed at one point. All the work she did to cause the majority rule to be a success. She came back. She lost her scholarship. She was doing a doctorate, and they took the scholarship. The United Bayman Party took it from her back then, but she still survived, and she was able to do it. But when they won, they gave her a Senate position, a cabinet position with no title. You can't even do that. But then they came back right after, and they gave her Minister of Transport. But then after, women weren't placed in there for another 20 years until Janet Boswick came and won her seat. in 1982. And what a difference Janet Boswick made. Little short woman, but my God, mighty. And then you talk about Cynthia Mother Pratt and all of them. So only 13 women and only 13% we have in there now. And the quota is, the number is 30%. It should be 50-50, a better balanced world if you have that kind of leadership. But my God, our numbers should have been 30% by 2020. So yeah, International Women's Day, celebrating women leadership in politics, parliament, and cabinet. And also, how can women be, and why are we asking more? Why are they pushing it now? Why are we asking for it? Because more than anyone, any gender, any group, women have been most disproportionately, my God, affected by COVID and Hurricane Dorian. Cannot forget that. Because remember, other countries may only be dealing with COVID, but our second and third highest generating income economies were demolished. I traveled to Abaco and Grand Bahama. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Abaco was just all the rubble. Everything was just rubble. Yeah. But Grand Bahama, the houses, there were no windows and no inside. It just gone straight out to the canal and the ocean or wherever it went. These are realities for us, and the government, thankfully you have Kay Forbes Smith, a woman there who have a certain kind of understanding. It really is a difference in terms of leadership, and we also now want some more men to step up to and see ways in which they can help support the women.
Dr. Higgs, I'm going to give you 1 minute to send your final message, word of encouragement, challenge, whatever you want to use your minute for, that's on you. But I want you to send a message out to our audience and those who will watch at a later time about the importance of this day and what we all need to do to make it better.
International Women's Day, a day set aside to celebrate women, to salute them, to thank them, to remember them, like my mom, if they're passed and they're no longer in your life. What impact did they have in your life? Anything that is negative, you have to flip it around and turn it to be positive. If not, it attaches to your cells. It becomes bitter and angry and then cancerous. And then there's also some new kinds of diseases that are manifesting right now. So you want to be beautiful in all of your ways, even with your weaknesses. Find out what is beautiful about you so that you can continually celebrate yourself. And don't do anything. Don't touch any project, any assignment. Don't speak to any strange person or have any meeting without first consulting your God. Whatever that God spirit is, whatever you call it, there is power in the silence of communicating and communing and aligning with your God. I do that every day. I sit down and my staff say, Dr. Higgs, how were you able to do that? But for the grace, the love, the guidance, and the wisdom of God.
My Lord. Always a pleasure, Dr. Jacinta Higgs. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of the show today. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I know that our audience did as well. God bless you, my sister.
Thank you. Receive it. And likewise.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that's my time, y'all. Time is gone. The show is done. Thanks to Dr. Higgs for being our wonderful guest today. Listen, all of you out there, when you're talking about International Women's Day or any other day, remember that when you allow a woman to be all that she can be, this is in no way a way to hold men back. We're supposed to stand side by side. We're all in this thing together. So let's act like it. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the show. And we have a great show planned for tomorrow, so don't you dare miss it. If you haven't already done so, like and share this show to make sure everybody gets this message. I'm out. Have a good one.